So I want you all to know, I was, just about to start this video and everything, and, I got a little bit of a fear with, bees and wasps and all that shit, right? Honestly, it's real bad. It's to a point where if I hear a fly, I will instinctively think it is like a bee or something, right? And that'll activate my fight or flight. The reason I bring this up is I'm currently horrified and sitting in this room, hopefully for the next amount of time that I have to, because there is just a bee somewhere in the building. So, that's not great for me, but welcome to the update video. I'm horrified right now, but let's get into the details, shall we? Alright, so the middle of the year update video. I mentioned how I'm gonna do this from now on of, middle of the year, end of the year, that type of shit, and update you all on the videos that are to come. And, well, here we are with that, right? So we got a whole lot to talk about with this. Some things I mentioned with the Arc 6 update video. It was more so, me thanking you all for the support on that. Plus just mentioning what was to come and everything. And there's some stuff I'm going to reiterate because I didn't necessarily, because of working on ReZero and, the latest get into and all that. It wasn't exactly easy to do some of the stuff there. So I'm just going to repeat some things that I've mentioned before that we're still going to do. But other than that, right, there's some new shit to obviously talk about. Now, I'm, of course, first going to start this off with, giving most of you the thing you're waiting for, probably, right off the bat. Just because why not? And that's, of course, ReZero. We have, a decent bit to do with this series. The biggest thing I guess to mention first would be the fact that, of course, we have the Arc 4 video. Now, that said, right, I will say with the Arc 4 video, it's definitely going to be a decently big thing to work on and everything, right? I think I will treat it in a similar way to how I did with Arcs 1 to 3, right? Like that type of review. But I will say, it'll be a bit till we fully get to this point, because I am still technically on a reading break, right? The only thing I'm doing right now necessarily is occasionally reading Arc 7. I'm trying to get in, a chapter per day, right? But that didn't necessarily work out an insane amount, this month, or I guess the last month, because now it's August, but this month, quote-unquote, didn't really get a lot of chances for that because of working on the get into, a whole bunch of other shit, right? Some of the other videos on the channel, right? The Brosicast stuff where we talked about ReZero and all that, and then of course that adds onto it. A whole bunch of stuff, of course, really made it so that it was difficult to actually go through Arc 7. Now that said, I'm making some decent progress again. I am, at this point, pretty much at the B story stuff, and from there, honestly, I'm probably going to read more today. In fact, I'm probably going to read a decent bit, especially since I might be locked in this room now. But, I'm definitely making some good progress, so I'll almost be done that volume. And I'll get to that volume in a moment, because obviously there's something to talk about there. But for Arc 4, I think it'll still be a bit. I honestly want to say it'll probably be October or November that you guys will get the review, because I do really want to do a whole bunch of other stuff first, right? Watch some other stuff, read some other stuff, make some videos on some other stuff that I don't know that I can really just cram Arc 4 right into that. On top of the fact that, if we're being real here, right? Other than the topic that of course I have to talk about in a moment with ReZero, there's not much left to go on, technically. Once we're done Arc 4, I'm probably going to do a tier list just to discuss some stuff. Maybe I'll do some other tier lists, characters and stuff, just to give my overall thoughts, right? Give you all, just my general opinion on stuff. Those might be long, though, because understand that even though it's a tier list, it's me describing, what I like about certain things and everything. That might be a while, especially a character one. A character one might honestly be longer than the Arc 6 video, and I hate the idea of that, but it might be. But yeah, it's gonna be a bit till the Arc 4 one, because I just want to do a few other things first, and then, you know, we'll get to there. We'll do that, and then, I mean, we're kind of in a moment where it's just like, we have to do other stuff and everything, right? And I'm still gonna keep this, like, series a proper staple of the channel, right? I still plan on making occasional theory videos if I think of shit, like I have before, right? You know, the tier list stuff I mentioned, I would say reactions, but, I mean, you know what state we're in with that, so that's unfortunate. But hey, if the time comes where that happens, you know. But yeah, overall, and there's also something else that I want to mention with the series, but we'll also get to that in a moment. But first, let's get to the first thing I said in a moment, and that is the next Arc 7 volume. Now, that said, right about this, the poll isn't done yet. I'm still gonna wait another week, so if you haven't already, I think I'm pointing the correct way this time. I hope, you know what, we're gonna point both ways. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna point both ways, just in case I screw that up somehow. But if you haven't already, be sure to vote on that poll and everything for how we're handling this series from now on. I think we might be doing per volume now and everything, which is fine. That does actually let me, like, keep up almost, right? Because I would essentially be able to, and I'm gonna wait for proper translations once I'm fully caught up, right? I'm not gonna, like, go off Google Translate or something. I'm gonna go, like, just fully wait a few days, get the translation that's, like, overall proper, right? And then read through it, and you'll get the, like, review of that volume a few days later. But essentially, you know, this is nice because then I can keep up with everything, right? And it'll be like a few days after we're done, boom, there's a review. That's pretty nice. But I mean, if the other one wins, the other one wins. I kind of doubt it at this point because there are, I think, like 7 votes, and about, I don't know, 4 or 5 are on the first option. So I don't know that we're going to go with the other one. I think we're just going to do it per volume. I don't think we're waiting for a full video or anything. This also does mean I'm going to do that for EX5 when that fully comes out. That got delayed again, by the way. I brought it up in the last, like, you know, in that rant video where I mentioned Yen Press does have a thing where, I don't know, where they'll delay books and everything a month and there'll still be problems. I mentioned that because that's something I kind of dislike. And they've delayed EX5. From what I've heard, they've delayed it, like, more than twice. But I've only seen twice. So, I don't know, that's still pretty wild. The fact that it's coming out in October, fuck, we're really waiting for that. I'm gonna have to, like, honestly, thank God, like, we have a whole bunch of shit going on with the channel soon, because, like, it's kind of tough, right? If I were to review the next volume, and then we did the next volume after that or something, that next volume after that would probably be like September or something. We wouldn't really have much, like, after that, so, you know, thankfully we're at this state where we have a bunch of stuff going on and everything. It kind of works out well. But yeah, anyways, the next volume review, I guess, might happen soon. It'll probably happen after the poll, and like a few days after, because I will say, if I'm reading a chapter a day, and especially more today, for obvious B-related reasons, then, you know, we can easily get that review done. In fact, I might even get it done before the poll is over, and then, you know, I will simply just upload it afterwards, or I'll wait. I might actually just, you know, fully wait to make sure that second option isn't, like, the one that wins, because if that second option wins, I will just have that recording on the ready for when, you know, the full review comes out. But yeah, there's that. Now, I'm not technically done with the topic of ReZero yet, because there's something else I want to go into, and I know this is something else that I've mentioned a lot, but there's also something additional that I've never mentioned before that I want to mention. You gotta hear me out on this, alright? You gotta just hear me out. Because the next thing I'm going to talk about, hear me out, the next thing I'm going to talk about, related to polls, I tried to remove it, the next thing I'm going to talk about is the end of the year tourney poll. Now, hear me out. I know I bring this up a lot, and I do love these tourneys that we do at the end of the year. They're really fun. A lot of people who join seem to really enjoy them, like, genuinely. I have a blast doing them. Everybody around has a blast doing them. And, of course, on the list, on the poll, we have a ReZero character on there. Once again, I'm going to say if you decide to vote on the poll, please consider every option there. I'll put the poll up now, whichever side it's on. But, you know, obviously just consider all the options and everything. Now, why am I saying that there's something ReZero related to this and everything, excluding the character that's in there? Well, I decided something, right? Because I almost wanted to give a bigger incentive, almost, towards watching tourney-like streams and everything like that, right? Because I don't know, I think these streams are really great, and I highly suggest people watch them. But I wanted to give a bigger incentive towards it, right? So I thought about something. I thought about making a deal with all of you, right? Because that Arc 6 video on the channel, the review, that's gotten an insane amount of support. To the point that it came out in, like, what, March? And at this point, it's only been, like, 5 months. And it has 680 views. It's closing in on 700. So I decided something. And I think this is very, very reachable. If by a year's time, and specifically in March, not January, by a year's time, if that video has 1,000 views, right? Just for fun, because I do really appreciate the support on that and everything, and it does make me very happy. And I want to give you all something back for that. If that video manages to reach 1,000 views within a year's time, we'll hold another tourney. Just whenever it reaches that, maybe like a week or two after it reaches it, but whenever it reaches that, we'll hold another tourney. Also, as long as it's after, of course, the, you know, big end of the year tourney. I'm gonna do it after that, first of all. But, you know, just in case we reach it by December. But I'll hold another tourney. And what we'll do is it'll just be a fuck ton of, like, ReZero characters. I'll think of some good matchups and everything and all that. And we'll do that. And, you know, whoever wins that whole collective thing, I'll put them in next year's tourney. Like, the actual end of the year, proper tourney. I'll put them in that. Just for fun. I feel like this is very reachable. I mean, fuck, we're really almost at 700, and it's only been 5 months. So, yeah, I think that'll be pretty fun. But yeah, be sure to vote on the tourney poll, of course, because I think, you know, you could still enjoy the first one and everything. We actually, I said there's a ReZero character on that list and everything, and there is. And, you know, there's no guarantee that they're in. But there is an actual ReZero kind of match in there. However, you know, that the character that's in that match isn't going to be part of the actual big finale of the tourney. They're just part of their own separate match, but that should be fun as well. But yeah, that's what I wanted to mention about that. So now, we move on to the next point, and that next one is, well, 'cause this is something that I brought up with the Arc 6 update and everything. And I feel like I have to bring it up again, because it might seem like I'm not doing it. But, so yeah, I promised the Pokemon Nuzlocke streams, and we haven't really done that yet, have we? So, yeah. Yeah, the Nuzlocke. We're still doing that, don't get me wrong, right? Something to mention about that is, once again, I've been very busy with shit like ReZero and stuff, and I wanted to get it done after the Arc 6 review, but I didn't have that much time and everything, right? I kind of waited 2 weeks for, like, just a cool-off period, and then, you know, we worked on the next few reviews to come and everything, and that took up a lot of time. Among other stuff, right? But I think now I'm definitely going to try and overall get this done, right? I do really love doing these Nuzlocke streams, and it might be a little bit difficult to get Omega Ruby working. I want to try if I can. If not, we'll go with Ruby, or I remember hearing that it's a harder version of Ruby. We might do that for fun. Even that might be horrible on a randomized Nuzlocke. But yeah, also, I don't want to make this thumbnail go to waste, because my good pal, King Shitpost, or Wright, whichever name we want to go off of, you know, helped me out with the Get Into and a lot of other videos and all that, and has been on occasional streams. Made this wonderful thumbnail. I feel like I should move out of the way to just overall get the whole thing in there. Maybe move my chair a bit. It's pretty great. I really do love that thumbnail a lot. It's really well done and everything. I really like it. And I don't want it to go to waste, so I definitely want to get that Nuzlocke done. I'll figure out a time for it and we'll do that. But speaking of streams and everything that we still gotta do, there's a certain other series that we were streaming a while back, and I have yet to continue streaming. Now, to be fair, I was having problems with OBS at the time that we were streaming this for whatever reason. This mic right here was way louder than it should have been. It doesn't seem to be having that problem nowadays, right? I'm able to record these videos and they're fine, so it seems overall fine. But it was a real bad problem with streaming and everything, and yeah, hopefully by now that's all figured out and everything, like that it works out for us. I definitely want to get this done soon though, because I want to work on the next marathon to go through and everything, and I don't think I'll do all of MGS5. I think it's a bit long, and some of it isn't necessarily important, quote unquote, right? It doesn't affect the grand scheme of things in the plot. And overall, like, the actual important details I can just list off, and everything there. I think we'll just overall do part 1, is what I'm saying. I think we'll do part 1, we'll watch a few of the important cutscenes here and there, and then that's how we'll wrap it up. Because I don't know that we want to do this forever, or anything. But, the next marathon after that, I don't actually know if I ever mentioned this, but the next marathon after that just so happens to be a series that is very, very high, in my opinion, in terms of like where I would put it and everything. I would absolutely love to get to the Ace Attorney marathon, because I love doing voice acting type of stuff, right? Goofy stuff like that. And my brother and my cousin have yet to experience the games, and I kind of want to make it so that they're playing, right? Like, technically I'm in control, but whatever they decide to, you know, present or, you know, object on all this, right? You know, get more info on. That's entirely up to them. Mostly because I, like, know a lot of stuff, right? I've played through a lot of these fucking games, so I have a lot of knowledge on shit, and I don't really feel like it's fair that I play it. I guess I have forgotten, you know, how to get to the point of, like, the end of the trial, technically. But I don't think it's entirely fair if I play it and everything. On top of the fact that it's a new experience for them, I think it's better if they discuss it and then they figure out what option works and all that. But I'm very much looking forward to that. I hope this shit works out. This will be probably really fun. I'm very much looking forward to this, and it's like, I can't lie, doing a marathon of this would get me way more hyped than MGS5, and it's unfortunate because I was so hyped with the Metal Gear marathon. But as soon as we hit 5, I don't know, I just kind of slowed down in terms of how hyped I was. I guess because I was streaming a lot last year, and that was like kind of a problem. Streaming, even trying to stream like once, maybe twice a week, it is horrible. At first it feels great, but oh my god, would you get a few months into it and it just genuinely does not feel that fun. It feels like the most stressful shit ever. But I definitely want to get to the Ace Attorney stuff because I think that could be incredibly fun. And the voice acting, like, it'll actually make, you know, stuff like streaming way more fun and everything. And I feel like that's part of it with, like, the Nuzlocke. It's like, the Nuzlocke and this will be really fun. I'm gonna really enjoy doing that, and it'll feel great because I haven't felt like that with streaming in a while. But I guess now it's time to move on to our overall last topic of the update, and that's the big videos to come. Because there's a few of them, right? There's a few videos that I'm working on that are overall big that I definitely, you know, want to get out on the channel before the end of the year. That one I mentioned in the past at the end of the year update last year, still very much, you know, in the water on if we're doing it or not, right? It's just kind of like, we might pull it out of there and be like, you know what, we can work on this and do more. But it might just stay there. It kind of depends. There's a lot of factors to it and everything, and I do want to do it, but I think it would require a lot of setup and everything, and if we can get it done, that's great. But just, like, obviously don't get your hopes up and everything about that video. It would be fantastic. It'd be a long video. We'd have proper scripts and skits to it and everything, and it would be, like, genuinely great. It probably would be the best video on the channel, I'm not gonna lie. But it depends on how it works out, right? I need the cooperation of a lot of people and everything, and it's just like, it's a little bit difficult. But to go into the videos that I am gonna do, at least within the year, you know, that are big and everything. Well, obviously the first one is the next Get Into. Overall, I want to get the next Get Into done this year, right? I want to get the Arc 4 review and this done this year. I want to complete both of those and just get them out, right? That'd be great. Honestly, like, that's overall the game plan I have in terms of that. Mostly because those are the, in my opinion, like, the two big things with the channel, right? There's other stuff, of course, that, like, are big to the channel, but those are the main two big things, I'd say, right? That seem to get support and everything. Or, like, the most support, rather, is what I mean. So overall, I definitely want to get that out by the end of the year, and then also the Arc 4 review. It might honestly be like a month after whenever the Arc 4 review is, we'll get the next Get Into out, or something like that, or like maybe a few weeks after, something. I'm gonna try for something like that. But yeah, speaking of other big videos, I think the next one I have here, just ready, is an interesting one. Because some of you may know that on the channel we have the whole NIAB Talks about videos, right? Where I just discussed random topics. You know, the first one was Baki, and I talked about Spy Family, and then I, you know, talked a bunch about Race Zero and everything. But, you know, it's overall just me speaking about stuff, no script, no nothing like that. I mean, it's technically like this in a way. But it's just overall me speaking about stuff I want to speak about, right? Well, we have something like that. In fact, a big one. A big, more edited one, which is weird because I, you know, usually say these types of, or those types of videos are very much, you know, simple, right? A little bit of editing here and there, but that's about it. But I actually have a overall big one with some decent editing in there planned and everything, and you might be wondering, well, what is that? Well, I decided, you know, I'm going through so much stuff and everything, right? Like watching a bunch, reading a bunch, all this, that it's like, damn, I don't really have a way to fully delve into my thoughts about stuff that I've been going through and like watching and reading and experiencing, right? And just all at once or anything like that, right? I have to make individual videos on this. So I thought of an alternative, and that is just, we do it by the season occasionally, right? Occasionally we'll get an actual proper, you know, singular video about something out. But what if we did it by the season? And that's how I present to all of you. This. I have to probably move. That says 2020. It's kind of hard to see because of the chair. Or 2022. Not 2020. I guess we're going back 2 years, but no, 2022. So yeah, I decided, fuck it. Compile everything at once and just talk about it in a big video, right? That way you all get my thoughts on a whole bunch of stuff. And, you know, it's now in a long video where you're hearing just my experiences with, you know, this thing or that thing, right? These are only a few examples, by the way, on the like thumbnail. Obviously, there's way more to the video than just this, but yeah, it'll be a fun little video where I get to discuss a whole lot, and I think it should work out pretty nicely. I think it'll be pretty nice. Now, the last thing to discuss in terms of big videos, this is something else actually I mentioned, I think with the Arc 6 video and everything, and I think I might have mentioned it with the Baki one or something like that. But I mentioned that while I was reading through Arc 6, I also occasionally was, or not, I don't even think it was while I was reading Arc 6, I think it was ReZero in general. While I was going through Arc 5, and then I was transitioning into Arc 6, and then I was moving into, you know, the rest of it, except I finished it before I moved into the rest of, like, the ReZero stuff, right? It was mostly during Arc 6. I mentioned how I had been watching Yu Yu Hakusho around that time, and, you know, I'd also been a year back watching Hunter x Hunter, and, I mean, at this point, I'm, like, you know, finished with that as of around the Arc 6 video and everything. But yeah, I mentioned how that was a thing, and I decided that, you know, screw it, we're gonna have a big just video where I discuss my thoughts on both and kind of compare and contrast with all that, right? And well, just to present it here, there it is. That's the thumbnail I've had for a while now, just on the ready for all this. I'm very much looking forward to making this type of video, right? Because this is overall kind of a review and me talking about stuff I liked, disliked, and all this. And I think it could work out well, right? You know, they're both kind of topics that I have wanted to talk about and overall compare almost, right? Because there's some things I liked more about one than the other, and, you know, vice versa. So I think that it should definitely work out pretty well. It'll also be probably pretty long because it's like I'm going to be talking about each arc, so I think it should last a while and everything, but yeah, that should be a good time. But yeah, I think that about covers it for this update video, so thank you all for watching. Hopefully you got all the info you needed out of the channel from that, and yeah, I guess we will see you all possibly next week or the week after with the Arc 7 video for doing that or something, or whatever comes next, really, because I mean, we got a whole bunch to come, right? Or maybe some streams, right? Because we were trying to get the streams in there. Yeah, overall, I'll see you all with whatever comes first. So, thank you all for watching. Have yourselves a great night, and take care.